Mike Moore Media, the first place to hear Rockingham County news and information.
Welcome to another Rocket in Reidsville podcast with Jeff Garstka, Economic Development Director for the City of Reidsville. Hey, Jeff.
Good morning, Mike. Always good to chat with you.
Always good to visit with you, and good things are happening in Reidsville. Bring us up to date, Jeff.
Oh, goodness. Well, I know some of this we've talked about, but I'll just kind of rehash a little bit of it. So, starting with industrial projects, since summer of 2016, so we're looking about a 4-year period, we've had well over 1,200 new industry jobs announced in the city. And, that's a testament to, obviously, the business environment that we've experienced really nationwide, but also certainly a testament to the leadership here with City Council and City Management in full support of these projects when it comes to incentive negotiations, creative packages we are able to put together. And, what we say is, what others would consider aggressive economic development policy, we consider the norm. So that's our attitude.
That's the way you operate, that's for sure. Yeah, and that really translates to a big investment in a lot of ways, doesn't it?
It is. If you look at the capital investment that these companies have made, in real property with building renovations and new buildings, and all the machinery and equipment that they install, we're looking at over $100 million boost to our tax base during that period. And, when you lose an industry, it's never a good thing, but when you replace it with other industry and commercial, retail, and residential development, we diversify our economy. We're able to absorb some of those losses a little easier than we would if it was nothing but losses. So we're very fortunate. And I'll mention, too, we are very fortunate, and this is probably not typical of a small community like Reidsville, but we've had companies that are headquartered in Japan, Italy, Belgium, Israel, Australia, China, Germany, worldwide investment in Reidsville, and that's a very exciting thing for us. And part of that is a testament to the state of North Carolina and the economic development folks there that do a lot of aggressive marketing internationally. And North Carolina has traditionally been a very popular destination for foreign investment, just due to our East Coast location, Mid-Atlantic, within a day's drive of more than half of the U.S. population, and access to any number of ports, Norfolk, Charleston, Wilmington, those places. So it's a very strategic location for foreign companies.
And I always like to hear that when you're talking. We've got so many local companies that we've depended on, been anchors for years. But when you bring in companies from faraway places, that's exciting, isn't it?
It's very exciting. The Reidsville Industrial Park is land that the city and county have owned for a number of years, probably close to 20 years. The 3 companies that are currently located there are all international. So we may very well rename it the Reidsville International Industrial Park at some point.
Yeah, I think you probably could very comfortably. Yeah,
and we have one more on the hook. So for me, it's all the most exciting stuff we could talk about is the stuff I can't talk about.
I understand. Yeah, and I know a lot of things always behind the scenes, and we don't know about it until we get the news release. So good luck with that. Yeah,
that's right. Thank you.
But a lot of commercial investment, and what about residential development investment? That's going well too. Goodness,
we have seen a legitimate boom in residential new construction, as well as renovations and additions. Our investment just in new residential development, and this goes back to 2015, close to $50 million in residential building, and that is a phenomenal number. And again, that diversifies our economy. When we can replace industry loss with new homes, I mean that money all counts the same towards our tax base and rising the tide of the community as a whole. So it continues to be strong. We have some single-family homes and townhomes under construction or near beginning construction. The Carter Ridge neighborhood has been fully built out, and we've been able to attract interest from a number of residential developers, small and large, that some haven't made a commitment yet, but they remain very interested, and we've been lucky, and strategic luck, as I like to call it, but we've been lucky to have these people come visit us and listen to our pitch. And once they get here, Reidsville suddenly isn't just a small community on the map. It's a much bigger market, as we've talked about. Our the residential population within 10 miles of Reidsville is 125,000 people.
Wow.
So that's really our market.
Mm-hmm. And, it doesn't seem to me like the pandemic is slowing things down at all. Same for you, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it has affected, the retail sector, obviously.
Oh, yeah,
Some aren't even allowed to open, and that's just been, extremely unfortunate for those folks, the small businesses. And, it's obviously not unique to Reidsville, it's globally. But as far as industrial recruitment, there's still a lot of active projects. The residential part of that is, historically low interest rates. So folks who are on the fence may be willing to climb over the fence and do a project just because, money's cheap and they've got, pent-up demand. So it hasn't affected us in a way that one might think. We still have some very active things going on downtown, citywide. So, we just keep it rolling.
Let's focus on downtown a moment. Bring us up to date on some good things happening there.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen a couple of new businesses come in over the last number of months. We've seen a lot of building renovations. Of course, we have a grant program that helps with that, and that's a great incentive for us, and it really helps the small businesses, offset some of their redevelopment costs. We have about 80% of our downtown properties in the Central Business District are what we call active storefronts. So there is a business in there. Folks drive through, and it's hard to see sometimes. You see vacant buildings. When you talk about 80% occupancy, that is a huge number for a community like ours. Mm-hmm. Our challenge, and I'll throw this out there, and certainly maybe some folks will hear this, but our challenge is that other 20% of vacant buildings, most of them aren't on the market actively. They're not for sale. They're not for lease. And our hope is that we can continue to, work with these folks to either sell, rent, or fix their buildings. We have one in particular, the former Nunnally Photography Studio on Gilmer Street, was a building that was essentially neglected for a decade or more with no tenant, and we've had a developer come in and purchase it. He's building 3 apartments upstairs, or 2 upstairs, 1 downstairs. They're already leased, and he hasn't even put floors in. So that's a great sign for us.
Yeah.
Same guy's got with a partner's got another building under contract. He's looking at probably another 8 or so apartments. And then across the tracks, the former Adams Electric property that the city owns, we've been able to attract him to that property, and that's going to be well over a dozen new apartments and some really cool commercial ground floor, retail restaurant type stuff. So huge investment there, and that's a catalyst for that entire, kind of old historic area across the tracks that we're looking to redevelop and call it the Depot District. And it's going to be an eclectic, mixed-use, live, work, play, artsy, fun, entertainment-based neighborhood for us. And so we recently interviewed some great design firms to put together a robust plan for that area, and we're very excited about putting a lot of effort into that moving forward.
Well, we're hearing good things already, and more to come on the Depot District for sure. And just driving through downtown the other day, looking at your public art, and that's exciting. What's going on there, and so many different levels.
It is, the murals, the alleyway that a couple of high school students painted, the fire hydrant project, which is really fun and exciting. We've even had, what we call ugly things turning pretty. Utility boxes, for instance, that have been painted to look like something other than utility boxes. So really cool stuff. That's a project that was, primarily spearheaded by the Reidsville Downtown Corporation and the city, but we've had a very fortunate influx of private funding and donations for a lot of those projects. So, we get buy-in from the private sector for something as simple as public art. That's a great sign. Of course, we got the tree replacement project with those planter boxes. They've got some really cool art panels on the side going both directions on Scale Street, and we've had great feedback from that, and that really helps our streetscape.
And we have so many talented artisans, too, that make it happen. That's great.
Oh, my gosh, we do. World renowned. The body painters, the Brad Spencers of the world, and some of the artists who have done public art projects are well known in this area.
Oh, yeah. Let's get an update on what's happening at Lucky City Brewing. Yeah,
they're well underway. I was in there about a week ago just kind of checking on progress, and they've got the steels going up inside. They've opened up the front. It's going to be, I guess, what you would consider outdoor seating inside. Folks who have been to Joymonger's Brewery in Greensboro, it's kind of the same model. They'll have, indoor seating that will have big garage doors that open to the outside. So it's kind of an indoor-outdoor venue. That's very exciting and very popular. And they hope, all things being equal, they hope to be open sometime in October.
Oh, that is good news. Yeah, I walked through that same open area within the last month, and a lot of us have been following the progress of Lucky City Brewing now for some time, so it's all coming together. Good things happening in Reidsville, that's for sure. Let's talk a little bit about, we only have about 3 minutes left, Jeff, about the census, because that's so important.
It is extremely important. It affects federal dollars. It affects the congressional seats statewide. We have made a big push. We've done a lot of PR, billboards. We've got a remote kiosk where folks can just come and fill out the census. We're at about 60% response, which is pretty good. That's about the average, but those are listening, please fill out the census. We need as many numbers as we can get, and we're very confident that our numbers in 2020 are going to be significantly better than they were 10 years ago and even a couple of years ago.
Okay, yeah, that is so very, very important. The manual machining lab, how important is that to what we're doing?
Critical. We had tremendous support from our local industries in support of that project. It's modeled after a similar one in Greene County. The Golden Leaf Foundation funded the vast majority of that project. So we've got machines set up in a lab at Reidsville High School, taught by Rockingham Community College teachers. And unfortunately, with the shutdown of schools, the group that started that program back in the spring wasn't able to finish it in person, but the college and the school system are trying to get creative to be able to keep that program going, despite what we face with the pandemic.
Well, making adjustments and best we can during this time for sure. Got about a minute left, Jeff. Sum it up for us, please.
Well, the state of Reidsville is strong. I've mentioned that over the last months and couple years, but we're very fortunate to again have strong leadership, aggressive policy, and it seems to be paying off quite well.
Certainly does, and a big news story out today, Rockingham being one of 11 counties getting expanded access to high-speed internet, so that's good news.
It is, and we've talked with some folks about, that's a challenge nationwide is access in rural communities to broadband to be able to have, students work from home. And, when you're looking at virtual learning, you have to have that connectivity reliable. I've heard stories in other communities about, folks sitting out in front of a library doing their schoolwork because they don't have it at home. So that's a big deal for us.
It really is for all of us in Rockingham County. Jeff, thank you and your team for making it happen. Always good to talk to you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mike. Always great.
All right. Talk to you again soon.
Okay. Take care.
Jeff Garstka is Economic Development Director for the city of Reidsville. You can get more information at rocketinreidsville.com.